You're not mic'd up, are you?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I don't care. They take it out.
Yeah.
The Haas F1 team means a lot to me. Last year we were fast.
Congratulations to Haas for their best ever finish in Formula One.
Well done, guys.
Yeah, with the big boys, yeah. Finishing 5th in our 3rd season was a great achievement from the team, but we want to try to finish 4th or better. This year, the pressure we are under is very, very high. If I have to remind you to do your job every day, you're in the wrong fucking place. This is not a fucking kindergarten here. One little mistake and you fail completely. Obviously it was a little bit of a clown show today again. We bitched about the tires enough and I better shut up because otherwise we look even bigger idiots than we are. Every weekend, the tension is higher. As a team principal, you feel responsible and I'm a little bit emotional. Fucking hell. I don't know what is fucking happening. Fucking everything is fucked up in the moment. There's always challenges. You don't want them to be too brutal, but you know they're coming. Last season, we made a big step upwards. We know that our opposition, they've got bigger budgets. It's very difficult to break into the top 3. But nothing is impossible if you've got enough money and resources.
My name is William Story. I'm the CEO and founder of Rich Energy. This year, I put a personal guarantee down for Haas for £35 million. They are a new business. They're a little bit rock and roll, and they are David's taking on the Goliaths of motorsport. We feel that we're the same in the drinks business. We're supporting Haas to become as successful as possible and also having some fun along the way.
Good morning. I don't know where I am, where to go. I'm completely lost. I just follow you.
Welcome to all of you here for the Rich Energy Haas Livery launch. We have a pretty exciting morning.
Stu, have you seen William?
Can only be a couple of minutes, isn't it now?
You're not far from here.
2 miles.
You could walk.
I could.
It would be good for you. Yeah.
For a small team like us, we need to do a lot more with a lot less. So we need a different model to try to have success.
Now, please welcome the CEO of Rich Energy, William Story. Wow, William, you are a popular bloke. There's a lot of cheers going on up there.
Oh, I paid them, don't worry.
There you go. So it is time to see what is under the covers.
In the beginning, we were questioned and critiqued and doubted because nobody had done it.
To be a team in Formula One, you have to be a constructor, and that means you have to construct every element of your car. Haas was smart, though, because they bought in as many off-the-shelf pieces as they could to come into the sport in a cost-effective manner and essentially hit the ground running as a competitive outfit.
So what do you think?
It looks fast.
Looks dangerous.
Looks angry.
It does.
I think Haas are a wonderful example of a team who are much more efficient, less profligate, brilliantly run.
Nice to see.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not sure I'd fit into that. And as such, I think they're starting to make some of the bigger teams look a little bit silly.
Having Rich Energy on board as a title sponsor is a good thing for us. We get some more money that will help us to move forward and hopefully get on a podium.
It's certainly a good-looking car, so
Yes.
if it goes as good as it looks, then
We should be alright, yeah. We should be alright, yeah, we should be alright. But it doesn't always work like this, you know. So.
Exactly.
It's the Australian Grand Prix here in Melbourne. A very, very tight midfield pack. I think they've got a very fast car.
Really good lap there, excellent pace. Check in 5, Kevin, P6. Perfect race, man.
Good job, thank you.
Car was amazing. Let's keep this up and have a good season.
Well done, brilliant. You did one fantastic.
Some are saying that you have cut the gap to the top teams. Would you agree with that?
Let's wait a few races to see where we really are.
Lance Stroll is going to make contact with Roman Grosjean.
Stupid.
The Haas team expected a handful of points today, and it's not really going that well at all.
I'm losing the brakes.
Grosjean lights up his tyres, takes to the escape road. He might have to be coming into the pits again very shortly.
Remember, we need to retire the car.
Okay. Fuck it up.
Remember mode push.
Kevin Magnussen, big accident.
Are you okay?
They can't find a race setup for these tyres at Haas.
Everything looks okay data-wise.
I don't know if they're straight. So good.
Kevin Magnussen's 2 laps down. He's running in 18th place.
I am fucking idiot. Take us everywhere.
This is the worst experience I've ever had in any race car ever.
For us, it's also not a nice experience. Enough now.
Everything seems to be going in the right direction, so front row of the grid.
The last 2 or 3 races were very bad for us. It doesn't seem that we can get on top of it. Coming here in Austria, we need to work hard and try to come up with a solution to our problems. You can come closer, so I have to shout less. Are we all, Jeff, Doorman, are we all here? All right. Coming from 5th now to being 9th in the championship, it's it's not a good feeling, I can tell you guys. I'm embarrassed about it, to be honest. You know, I don't like this feeling. I cannot deal with that. And as a team, we never had this. And I'm not saying that you're not working hard, guys. But in general, we all have to look into the mirror and see what can we do better, what have we missed. There is a lot to be done. We are here to fight and get back where we want to be. Our aim is still to finish 4th in the championship, you know, which is still possible because we are not this far out. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Good morning to everybody in the garage.
You go into the weekend with expectations and you're pumped. But then as soon as it goes bad, you start just feeling like nervous and tense.
Radio check on the race channel.
Radio's good.
Yeah, fire up, please. Green light. Charge on, charge on.
I had so much understeer mid-corner there. I mean, it doesn't feel fantastic.
We've been struggling for pace a little bit this whole year, and the car just isn't working. We don't actually really know exactly what is our problem. So we need to look at everything and questioning everything. It's a pretty tough situation.
The car wouldn't turn anymore. That was the big issue.
The biggest problem this year is the performance of the car, generally, which is quite poor.
It's not controllable.
The car was very good in Melbourne. And then the other teams kept on moving forward. But we didn't make any progress.
Yeah, so lower speed basically. Lower speed, as usual.
Every weekend, the teams refine their cars, trying to get more speed in the battle with your nearest competitor. The Haas upgrades have not been working. Part and parcel of it may be to do with the business model, getting a lot of parts in, putting the car design and manufacture out to third parties. So the team needs to get on top of what the core issue is.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Get a minute.
I always have a minute.
I show you. This is the official speeds. I don't get it.
The car was not a piece of shit. So why do we develop a car which fucking goes slower? Find out the problem and make progress out of it instead of this is better. It isn't. This is better. It fucking isn't.
I want to see the progress. I mean, otherwise, it's like, I make changes, you know.
Whatever happens, I'm responsible to the owner of our team, Gene Haas. Let's hope he doesn't get frustrated too much.
Can we have 2 cappuccinos, please? Thank you. Thank you.
So it seems like our biggest problem is keeping the cars with their initial speed. Because it seems like it falls off just way too fast. And the drivers just kind of wave to everybody as they go by.
You have to rely too much on the data.
Well, you know, we have a lot of data, but we still run like dog shit.
Sometimes.
It can't get any slower than where we're going.
We just need to figure out a few little things, not to make mistakes, and feel good.
I hope you get it fixed.
You tell me.
Yeah. Well, every weekend's a new test.
Yeah, every weekend's
Let's
a
see if
new
you can
day.
pass this one.
Well, in the season so far, you know, we're the ones that have been struggling, which is not good. Pissed me off, that's for sure.
Gene Haas, he's supporting us, but he needs to see if it is still worthwhile for Haas Automation to invest in the team.
So here we go, time for qualifying.
Charge on, charge on. Kevin, slow the car, we have an issue. Something went wrong in the gearbox. Kevin, I'll tell you now that it doesn't look good.
Okay, it's gonna be a gearbox change. Man, sorry, it sucks, man.
I cannot believe it. It's all right, we get it. Yeah, we get it, yeah.
Under Formula One rules, Magnussen will have to take a 5-place grid penalty for changing the gearbox.
The gearbox is gone. 1 race old. We have to take it out now and to change it. It was new on the last race, so now we get a penalty. Fuck, we cannot get one right in the moment, for fuck's sake.
Green light. Fire up, please.
Keep it up, guys. We can do it.
Okay, let's go. Good lap. How's that? P5. P5.
Fucking love that. I can't believe this.
Wow. Unreal. Fucking amazing, guys. Amazing.
Good job. Thank you. Thanks a lot. The expectations of Gene Haas is always to do better.
Still got on the penalty.
Yeah. 5.
I would say it's never good enough. Kevin did magic there. I mean, it was a fantastic lap, his last lap. So a lot of people said we are history, you know, we will be last this year. We will be keeping fighting.
Well done, mate. Motherfucker return.
We showed that we are a strong team. We just need to be confident, focus on your job, and if everybody does that, we are back. As a team principle, you're judged every weekend you race. You do good or you do bad. Yeah, you can do okay, but okay is already bad.
When I qualified 5th, I was so happy about that performance.
1 minute to go. 1 minute.
Everything goes from being a little bit hopeless to being possible. We really need a good one to lift everyone up and get the belief back into the team.
We have done our best. But it's out of your control.
We're racing in Austria.
Mode push, Kevin, mode push.
I don't understand it. There's something wrong.
We are losing, we are good. Okay, Kevin, overheating is high.
That's fucking weird.
Overheating very high, very high. Really struggling. Overheating is the highest it's ever been. We'll figure something out. We just gotta get these temps calmed down. Come on. Do something.
You're overheating, you're fucking slow. And everybody else is not overheating and fast. I mean.
Previous lap balance was all over the place. Is everything okay on the car?
Okay, we're investigating,
One of the problems is on the straight, you're so fucking slow. You're just fighting, you know.
I feel like it's raining. I've got no grip. No grip.
Remember, we need to move to the side to cool the car. Move to the side to cool the car.
No difference. I don't know how much I will be able to stay out.
Grosjean is definitely having issues with his car. He's now down to 17th place. Whatever is wrong with Matt Haas, the race pace has just disappeared. And Magnussen is dropping down the field once again. He's now back in 14th place.
It's annoying. It's like, there's no point to sit here.
Kevin Magnussen loses another position. He just has no pace.
Being overtaken all the time, it just feels so hopeless.
Checkered flag, Kevin. tough race, dude. We just didn't have the pace in either car today.
And another day of pain for Haas, with Grosjean finishing 16th and Magnussen 19th.
When you have a bad car, it's difficult not to give up on it.
Sorry boys, we can do better. Obviously we haven't solved it, we'll keep working on our side.
Fucking hell, I cannot do this. I might as well just park the car and jump out and go home.
Bad race for us, nothing more to say.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. I don't want to comment on it. It's enough. Fucking hell, yeah. Continue like this, he's fucking banging our head against the wall. There's no point. I mean, it hurts too much. We're not going anywhere. And the car was a fucking rocket before. Is there something gone wrong? There's something fucking gone badly wrong.
It's very difficult to be very consistent.
Yeah.
If you're on your own, it's okay.
That's what I mean.
As soon as you're behind another car, I don't want that one anymore.
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
It's painful.
Oh, I mean, I was just thinking what to do up there. I wasn't even watching anymore. I couldn't give a fuck, you know. We need to do something. We need. I mean, sitting here, listening.
It won't get better.
No, it will not heal. It will not heal. You know, it's not like when you're scratched. It doesn't heal this problem. You need to do something about it.
It's frustrating as hell. I drive the car and then it doesn't work and I'm like, what's going on? It's just refreshing to just get away from it sometimes and, you know, disconnect from it. I'm getting into sailing quite a bit and I just kind of feel really switched off when I go on the water. It's cool to think that we could go anywhere right now. Fucking hell, I'm cold. I'm freezing my balls off.
So where did you finish in Austria? Well outside the points.
Well, I mean, just so good in qualifying. And yeah, just no pace in the race.
Well, I think everybody knows what the problem is. It's just shit car.
Hopefully they know it's not just the drivers. Being a driver, you feel pretty helpless when it doesn't work. It's been hard to understand why we haven't been good. We've actually been pretty terrible, so you could do the lap of your life and then be 15 still. And you start, you know, questioning everything, including yourself. Frustrations build up, and we're just running around in circles a little bit.
The moment there's a lot going on and I need to deal with it, it is very demanding. It's part of my life to come and go, but I still like to come back frequently here.
Gefällt den Teamchef zu sein.
Das ist schon lang, das ist sein Beruf, ja.
Ich würde mal etwas anderes tun. Ich würde mal sonst tun.
Eis machen.
Eis. It's just one setback. It doesn't take me or doesn't take Haas F1 down. Dankeschön. But a lot of negative things came together.
When he comes home, usually he is very, very quiet. And I think that's the time when he recharges. I mean, his job is constant pressure. It's constant pressure, so you think a lot about it. So that's for sure.
I actually don't suffer the pressure itself, you know, it's more like, I would say I get emotional, but the pressure doesn't get to me really. Oops.
Sometimes I think he drops off the pit wall. I could picture it, you know, boom, it falls off. Was denkt Jean über?
Im Moment ist Jean ein bisschen ungeduldig, weil wir eben 3 gute Jahre hatten. Und deswegen im Moment geht es eben nicht gut. Deswegen ist er sicher und er will immer Erfolg. Ich glaube, wir sind nicht schlecht aufgestellt dahin. Deswegen werden wir aus diesem Loch rauskommen. Nur hoffentlich dauert es nicht zu lange, weil mühsam.
Ja.
Mühsam.
Ja.
Mit den Fahrern im Moment haben wir auch Schwierigkeiten, weil sie frustrierend und jedes Mal ist diese Paranoia.
Ja, ich glaube, die wollen immer kämpfen. Also ein Fahrer will immer nach vorne.
Ich glaube, sie verstehen nicht, um was es geht. Sie glauben, es geht nur um sie. Und man muss immer denken, es geht ums Team. Ja, also so kann es nicht weitergehen.
Season already in crisis, the Haas F1 team are facing more pressure after reports that their main sponsor, Rich Energy, is pulling out.
There were some rumours going around that they had made an initial payment, but none had been coming on after that. Is that true?
The performance of Haas in the last 2-3 months has been very poor.
I would like not to answer any more questions because there are commercial agreements in place.
It's evidently clear that they're going backwards. So I formally cancelled the agreement.
I'm getting fucking sick of answering these fucking stupid questions on a race weekend. I mean, I've never seen any fucking thing like this, you know?
Did that come as a surprise?
Yes. That's the last I'm saying, yes. It was a surprise.
No more questions on that topic. We'll move on.
The Rich Energy deal was supposed to be worth $60 million.
Guys, this is enough now. This is not worth the fucking hassle.
Other than the initial payment, that was the only money we ever received, so we're done with Rich Energy now.
This year is his roller coaster. To salvage the season, we just need to make a more radical approach and try to do something very unusual. We are at the stage now. We are just in front of Williams, but we are hanging on in there, you know. But if we another 2 races there ahead of us, we cannot be slower than this. Top speed, we are nowhere.
We are much slower than last year.
The car is completely all over the place. It felt that bad. It was horrendous.
We do need to take some drastic action.
It's a not decent car, and I think one car has to change over, go back to Melbourne spec. At least we have something to compare now, and if it is worse, at least we found out it isn't what we are looking for.
The team is using the race as a testing session to go out, to try the old car and the new car, see which bits work, see which bits don't. This is absolutely the end of the road in terms of ideas.
It is very unusual to go back to an old spec car because you always think the new one is better. That's what I want to find out. We are not going to vote on this, just to be clear. I'm not going to tomorrow into discussion, we should, we shouldn't, yes, no, maybe, I like it, I don't. I don't know who sacrifices himself, who runs on the old car or who runs on the new car.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind be the one to go back.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to go back. Both are pretty happy to do it, I think, yeah. Because everybody's just like, I can't fucking believe this, you know. Hey, keep your head up, you know. I don't fucking care who does it.
I think we need to do it with Roman because he's been vocal about this since day one.
Okay, we do it with him.
Yeah.
I speak to Kevin if needed, but if somebody opposes to that one, I sack them. I take the responsibility. I think Melbourne's spec car may be better. Roman test that one. Sometimes you need to make a decision. I don't think Kevin is this keen on it. But you cannot have always everybody content. Somebody will be unhappy, deal with it. We do it for the team, not an individual.
As a driver, we want to win it. But if you're not in the right car, you're constantly trying to achieve something that actually isn't possible.
I wanted to revert.
Radio check, Kevin.
Radio's good. The only way I can motivate myself is to find this fire and just go all out.
Obviously, you want to try to beat as many drivers as you can. That includes your teammates.
Teammate there. Into the hairpin right-hander, both passes lock up. Grosjean up the inside and they're wheel to wheel again. Oh, it's contact.
I don't know.
We're having to each other, you know.
Yeah, into each other. Fucking idiot. Fuck, another book too. Fuck.
Fucking hell.
You got punctured as well? Okay, both cars got punctured. Okay. Okay, that's not better at all.
Both cars are in trouble. They're both going to have to pit. Grosjean and Magnussen right at the back.
Stand by for double stop. Okay, Kevin, box now, box. Try and make this to the end, okay? Just bring it back.
Something's loose around my pedals.
Bring it in.
Okay, understood, Kevin. We don't want to take any risks, so box now for retirement.
Race over for Kevin Magnussen after contact with his teammate.
To remember, we saw quite significant floor damage on the right-hand side.
Just following vacuum entries vacuum change.
Box remand box. We will retire the car.
I'm so pissed off. Fucking hell. There's a lot I can accept.
Are you out?
I got pushed out by my teammate. Was it on purpose or not? I don't know. But as long as he's in front of me, he's happy. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. I need to calm down because I'm gonna do something stupid.
Can you go and get them?
Yes.
Please.
Sure.
Because then I can fucking go home.
Yeah.
Roman.
Gunther just wants to speak upstairs.
Let's go.
I fucking had enough of both of you. You let the fucking team down, me down, which I protected you all the time. And I'm not fucking going into who is right and who is wrong. I don't want to, hey, he moved, that moved, and all that fucking wank, you know? Gene spends 100 fucking million a year of his own fucking money, which fucking wants to pull the plug and let everybody down because you're two fucking idiots. I have not more to fucking say to you guys, and if you don't like it, I don't need you here. Do not come back, please. What was that?
Kevin just fucking smashed the door. That's not acceptable.
Fucking hell. He's not fucking doing that to me, you know? He does not fuck smash my door. Tell him that. If he doesn't want to come back, he better tells me now.
Has he just done
yeah,
that now?
Yeah. He smashed my fucking office door.
Where is he?
I don't know where he is, but he can fuck off. I told him, both of them. Fucking hell. We've got two fucking idiots driving for us. This is not acceptable, and we will make changes. If it would be my decision now, I would sack them both.
Lewis Hamilton now has 6 British Grand Prix wins to his name, more than any other driver.
The Haas F1 team means a lot to me. I think if it is a failure, I would have no idea what to do next.
I think we have a good team. Everybody shows up, but then when we can't get the cars to perform, the question is, what the heck happened? What's going on here? You know, what are we doing this for? We're here to race competitors, you know, drivers and race strategies, and we don't do any of that. So where do we go in the future? It's a very, very expensive sport. If we're doomed to run in the back, I don't think I'm going to be part of that.
Seen that expression before. They say it in French as well. I'll go fuck yourself. Yeah.
Where's the fucking boot? Daniel thinks he's the best, but I'm working more than anyone else in Formula 1.
Carlos is just quick, mate.
You should have thrown some banana pills at my rivals.
Can you win this weekend?
Yeah! Oh no, what's happened there?
I was fucking sorry. Happy at the office. No, it was a fucking shit day in the office.
Then Ross was surprisingly contrite in person. Or perhaps he was just terrified that Dell might kick another podium. The studio felt different this time, less like a slaughterhouse and more like a second chance at life. "Look, Derek," Jonathan said backstage, adjusting his colorful tie. "We're incredibly sorry about the Ravel confusion. It turns out our researcher had a very confusing afternoon in a shoe shop. Dell, dressed in his finest camel hair coat, waved a dismissive hand. Don't worry about it, Jonathan. Mon Dieu. Mistakes happen. It's the sign of a big man to admit when he's wrong. Now, about that 50 grand. The taping went surprisingly smoothly. Dell took the money. But when it came to the ultimate gold question, the one worth 100,000 pounds, he looked into the cameras, thought about his family, and thought about the taxman waiting at home. I'll tell you what we're going to do, Jonathan, Dell said, his voice dropping into its most persuasive range. We're going to give all the winnings to charity, because that's the kind of people we are. The audience erupted in applause. Rodney, watching from the wings, nearly fainted. He's doing what? Dell, we're bankrupt. But Dell had a plan. He knew that a bankrupt man winning 50,000 pounds would have every penny seized by the Inland Revenue immediately. By donating it, he secured a future appearance fee, a documentary deal with Justin, and a mountain of goodwill that the taxman couldn't touch. Plus, as he whispered to Rodney later, I've already worked out a way to get a tax rebate on the donation. Chapter 12. Managing Director's First Crisis. Back at Nelson Mandela House, Rodney was taking his new role very seriously. He had purchased a second-hand briefcase and a success motivational calendar. Right, Dell, Rodney said, clearing a space on the grease-stained kitchen table. As managing director, I've been looking into our overheads. The van needs a new exhaust, the storage unit rent is up, and we still haven't sold those musical umbrellas that play singing in the rain until the battery dies. Dell, who was busy trying to convince a man on the phone that a batch of slightly burnt toasters were actually antique charcoal-infused breakfast stations, looked up. Don't worry about the small stuff, Rodney. I've got a meeting with Monkey Harris. He's got a line on these new electronic organizers. They speak 10 languages. Rotters, you can sell them to anyone, tourists, businessmen, people who've lost their way in Peckham. We don't have the capital. Dell, Rodney protested. Capital is just a state of mind, Dell replied, tapping his nose. I've ranged it by now. Pay when we've flogged them deal. It's the future of retail, Rodney. It's called C'est la vie marketing. Rodney sighed, realizing that while the title on the door had changed, the man holding the suitcase remained the same. Chapter 14, The Charity Gala and the Taxman's Shadow. The announcement of the Trotter Charitable Foundation, which essentially consisted of the gold, rush winnings, and a few tin cans in the flat, had made Dell a minor local celebrity. He was invited to a black tie gala at the Peckham Town Hall to receive a Community Spirit Award. We need to look the part, Rodney, Dell insisted, wrestling with a bow tie that looked like it had been salvaged from a shipwreck. We're philanthropists now. We're the big hitters. We're the creme de la menthe. Rodney adjusted his tuxedo, which was to sizes too small and smelled faintly of mothballs, looked in the mirror. Dell, We're still living in a council flat. I'm taking the bus to these executive meetings. How long can we keep this masquerade up? As long as it takes. My son, Del beamed. I've got Justin filming the whole thing for the documentary. That appearance fee alone will cover the interest on the tax debt. The gala was a sea of Peckham's elite, which meant a few local counselors, the owner of the carpet warehouse, and Boyke. Boyke was wearing a white dinner jacket that made him look like a low-budget Bond villain and was puffing on a cigar the size of a small tree. "Ah, Derek," Boyke drawled, his signature nasal laugh echoing through the hall. "I heard you'd become a man of the people, giving away 50,000 pounds. Marlene, Ann, I thought. You finally lost your marbles. Or perhaps you were just trying to hide it from the revenue?" Del stiffened, but kept his business smile. Jealousy is a terrible thing. Herman, some of us believe in giving back. Not that you'd know anything about that, unless it's giving back a faulty Mercedes. The night went well until a man in a gray suit approached Del during the reception. He didn't look like a philanthropist. He looked like he ate balance sheets for breakfast. "Mr. Trotter, I'm Mr. Henderson from the Inland Revenue," the man said, pulling out a notebook. "We've been following your recent charitable activities. Very noble. However, we need to discuss how a bankrupt individual manages to dispose of 50,000 pounds without first satisfying his creditors." Dol's eyes darted toward the exit. "Ah, Mr. Henderson, bonjour. You see, that money wasn't mine to give. It was a corporate donation from Trotter's independent traders, under the new management of my brother, Rodney. I'm just a lowly consultant." Rodney, who had been trying to hide behind a potted palm, was dragged into the conversation. "Managing Director Rodney Trotter at your service. And yes, all transactions are strictly compliant with the Peckham Accord." The Peckham Accord. Henderson blinked. There is no such legal framework. "It's a very recent development," Del added quickly. "Very exclusive. Now, if you'll excuse us, I think I hear the buffet calling. Bon appetit." Chapter 15, The Translator Fiasco. A few days later, the buy now, pay later deal with Monkey Harris came to fruition. 100 boxes of Trotter Talk electronic translators were delivered to the flat. "These are going to fly off the shelves, Rodney," Del shouted, opening a box. 10 languages, voice recognition. It even does a bit of Latin for the churchgoers. Rodney picked one up. It was a flimsy piece of plastic with a screen that flickered ominously. "Del, these look like they were made in a shed. And what's this button for?" "Cockney to Cantonese." "A niche market. Rodney, think of the cultural exchange." They set up a stall in the market the next morning. Del was in his element, his voice projecting across the crowded square. "Gather round, gather round. Ever been to Paris and couldn't find the toilets? Ever been to Rome and ordered a horse when you wanted a house? The Trotter Talk is here to save your holiday. A group of Japanese tourists, looking somewhat confused by the local architecture, approached the stall. Dell immediately pounced. Ah, sayonara. Looking for the secrets of London, this little beauty will tell you everything. He turned on a device and spoke into it. Where is the nearest pub? The device word clicked and then shrieked in a voice that sounded remarkably like a cat being stepped on. Your uncle has a wooden leg in Shanghai. The tourists backed away slowly. Technical hitch, Dell shouted, frantically pressing buttons. It's still adjusting to the local atmosphere. Rodney, check the settings. Rodney looked at the back of the device. Dell, it says here manufactured by the blind weavers of Outer Mongolia. I think the language chips might be a bit creative. Creative. It's a feature, Dell insisted. It's a language learning tool. It makes you think. By the end of the day, they had sold exactly 0 translators. Even Trigger, who usually bought anything Dell offered, turned it down. I don't need to speak Mongolian. Dell, I can't even speak proper English half the time. Chapter 16, The Bank Job Revisited. While the market hustle was failing, Cassandra had managed to secure an interview for her old position at the bank. It was a crucial moment for the family's stability. I need this to work. Rodney, Cassandra said as she adjusted her suit, if I get this job, we can finally start looking at our own place. We can't stay in this flat forever with Damien and your brother's charcoal-infused toasters. I know, Cass, Rodney said, feeling a pang of guilt. And don't worry, the MD of TIT is here to support you. Please don't call a TIT in front of the bank manager, she pleaded. The interview was going well until Rodney decided to drop in to show his support. He arrived at the bank wearing a pinstripe suit he'd borrowed from Boyke, which was also too big, and carrying his second-hand briefcase. Good morning, Rodney announced to the receptionist. I'm here to see Mrs. Trotter. I'm her business advisor. He managed to stumble into the manager's office just as Cassandra was discussing the bank's investment portfolio. Ah, Rodney, the manager said, looking surprised. We were just talking about risk management. Risk management? Rodney boomed, trying to sound executive. Well, as the managing director of an international trading firm, I can tell you that risk is just an opportunity wearing a mask. For instance, have you considered investing in the Mongolian language technology sector? Cassandra buried her face in her hands. Mr. Trotter, the manager said slowly, we are a high street bank, not a venture capital firm for whatever it is you do. Exactly, Rodney said, missing the sarcasm entirely. And that's why you need a visionary like Cassandra on your team. She's been the backbone of our administrative restructuring. She's the raison d'etre of our finance department. Despite Rodney's intervention, or perhaps because the manager felt a deep sense of pity for Cassandra, she got the job. Chapter 17, The Phoenix Rising. As the weeks passed, the Trotters began to find a rhythm. They weren't millionaires, but they weren't drowning anymore. The translators were eventually sold as novelty noisemakers to a local toy shop, and Dell managed to trade a consignment of invisible ink, which was actually just lemon juice, for a working second-hand van engine. They sat on the balcony one evening, the orange glow of the Peckham streetlights reflecting in their glasses of cheap sparkling wine. "You know, Dell," Rodney said, looking out at the estate, "we might never be millionaires again." Dell looked at his brother, his eyes glinting with that familiar, undying spark. "Never say never, Rodney. Never say never. We've got the name, we've got the van, and we've got each other." He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Inside was a gold-plated watch, not a Harrison, but a sturdy, reliable piece of Peckham history. "I got this for you, a symbol of the new era, Managing Director's Edition." Rodney took it, his voice thickening. "Thanks, Dell. It's Kushti." "Kushti?" Dell laughed. "It's Magnifique, my son. It's Chersbean." As the credits of their latest chapter rolled in their minds, the yellow van sat in the parking lot below, ready for whatever mystery the morning might bring. Because in the world of the Trotters, the only thing more certain than a crash was the comeback. Chapter 18, The Peckham Paradox Premiere. The day finally arrived for the premiere of Justin's documentary. He had invited the Trotters to a private screening in a small, trendy cinema in Soho. The title, displayed in a jagged, avant-garde font, was The Peckham Paradox, a study in economic entropy. Entropy? Dell whispered to Rodney as they took their seats. "Is that like a starter? Like an entree?" "No, Dell. It's the inevitable decline of a system into disorder," Rodney replied, looking nervous. As the lights dimmed, the screen filled with shots of the estate at sunset, looking particularly grim. Then Dell's face appeared, larger than life. The editing was experimental long. Silent pauses followed by Dell's most outrageous claims about Central American markets. It portrayed them not as successful businessmen, but as the tragic remnants of Thatcherite ambition. "Look at that cinematography, Rodney." Dell beamed, ignoring the narrator's grim commentary. "I look like George Clooney after a heavy weekend. The camera loves me." However, the mood shifted when the film focused on their fall. It showed Rodney pushing the broom at the depot and Dell trying to sell toasters in the pouring rain. The narrator called them the ghosts of a lost era, haunting the concrete corridors of their own ambition. Raquel wiped a tear, and Cassandra looked uncomfortable. Rodney stared at his feet. When the lights came up, there was a smattering of applause from the Soho film crowd. "Well, Justin," Dell said, standing up and straightening his tie, It's a bit of a choker about the narration, but I love the lighting. How much do we get for the distribution rights? I've already spoken to a bloke who knows a bloke at the BBC. Justin looked stunned. Derek, it's an art piece. It's for festivals. There are no distribution rights in the commercial sense. No commercial sense? Dole's smile vanished. Justin, you've spent months filming us. We gave you our raison d'etre. You can't just leave us in the festivals. We need to be on prime time. Potpourri. Justin, potpourri. Chapter 19, The Digital Gold Mine. Despite the documentary's lack of immediate profit, it had given Dell a new idea. He'd heard a group of film students talking about crypto mining in the cinema lobby. Rodney, I've cracked it, Dell announced the next morning, barging into the kitchen where Rodney was trying to calculate the milk bill. We're going into the mining business. Mining? Rodney blinked. Dell, you're 60-odd. You can't go down a coal mine. Your back's gone, and you don't even like the dark. Not that kind of mining. You plonker. Digital mining. Cryptocurrency. It's money made of thin air. No stock. No overheads. Just a computer and a bit of luck. Dell had spent the afternoon trading with Monkey Harris and had returned with a van full of old, beige desktop computers that looked like they belonged in a museum. These are high-performance rigs. Rodney, Monkey said they're vintage optimized for mining Trotter coin. Trotter coin? Dell, that's not a real thing. You can't just make up a currency. Why not? The Sultan of Brunei does it. We'll set them all up in the living room. We'll have a server farm. Rotters. We'll be the Silicon Valley of Peckham. For 3 days, the flat hummed with the sound of 20 cooling fans and smelled of overheating plastic. The electricity meter was spinning so fast it looked like it was about to take off. Dell sat in front of a flickering monitor, waiting for the gold to appear. Any luck? Dell, Rodney asked, holding a wet towel to his head to combat the heat in the room. It's calibrating. Rodney, these things take time. It's like waiting for a souffle to rise. The experiment ended abruptly when the entire estate suffered a power surge. The flat went dark, followed by a loud pop from the kitchen. Is that the Trotter coin? Dell asked in the darkness. No, Dell, that's the fuse box. And I think the fridge has just died, along with our birthright. Again. Chapter 20, A Touch of Glass. With the server farm decommissioned and the computers sold back to Monkey Harris for parts at a significant loss, Dell needed a win to restore his confidence. He'd heard that Boyke was looking for a rare, antique chandelier for his new conservatory. I know where there's one. Rodney, Dell said, a glint in his eye. A real beauty. It's in a big manor house down in Dorset that's being renovated. The foreman is Ann, old mate of mine. He said it's a touch of glass original, worth thousands. Dell, the last time we handled a chandelier, we nearly ended up in the intensive care unit. Rodney reminded him, a cold shiver running down his spine. That was different. We were younger then, and we didn't have a plan this time. We've got a professional approach. Managing director's oversight, eh? They drove down to Dorset in the yellow van, which groaned under the weight of a heavy-duty ladder and several rolls of bubble wrap. The manor house was magnificent, shrouded in scaffolding. Right, Rodney, Dell whispered as they entered the grand hallway. We've got 10 minutes. The foreman's on his lunch break. We just need to unhook it, wrap it, and we're away. Chateauneuf du Pape. They climbed the ladder, their hearts pounding. The chandelier was a masterpiece of crystal and gold. Rodney held the base while Dell carefully unscrewed the mounting. Easy does it, Rodney. Easy does it. Suddenly, a security guard's voice echoed through the hall. Oi, what are you doing up there? Quick, Rodney, unhook it, Dell hissed. In the panic, Rodney pulled the wrong lever. The chandelier didn't drop instead. A hidden fire suppression system activated, drenching them in high-pressure foam. They slid down the ladder, looking like two very wet, very angry snowmen. Is this the touch of glass experience, Dell? Rodney spluttered, wiping foam from his eyes. No, Rodney, Dell sighed, looking at the security guard who was reaching for his radio. I think it's the touch of the law experience. Run! Chapter 21, The Wellness Revolution. Peckham was changing. Trendy coffee shops were appearing where greasy spoons used to be, and people were suddenly obsessed with holistic living. Dell, ever the opportunist, decided that the Trotter family should be at the forefront of this wellness revolution. Rodney, look at this, Dell said, pointing at a magazine in the Nag's Head. People are paying 20 quid for a bottle of water just because it says it's ionized and ethically sourced. We're sitting on a gold mine. Dell, we live in a flat. Where are we going to find ethically sourced water? Rodney asked, nursing a half pint of bitter. Under our feet, Rodney. I've been talking to a bloke who knows about the local geology. He says there's an ancient spring running right under Nelson Mandela House. All we need to do is bottle it. A few days later, the kitchen was filled with hundreds of empty plastic bottles and a large, questionable-looking funnel. Dell was filling them directly from the tap, but adding a secret ingredient, a pinch of sea salt and a drop of blue food coloring to make it look purer. It's called Peckham Spring, the water of eternal youth. Rodney, get the labels on. Rodney looked at the label, which featured a poorly drawn mountain and the words bottled at the source of the gods. Dell, this is just tap water with food coloring. If the council finds out, they'll shut us down. They won't find out. It's all about the marketing. Rodney, we'll sell it to those new yoga studios. They love this kind of thing. They managed to sell 3 crates to a studio called the Zen Den. Everything was going well until the yoga instructor, a woman named Solaris, decided to run a chemical analysis on the water for her purity blog. She said it contained trace amounts of chlorine and something called Peckham Blue. Dell, Rodney reported the next day, looking defeated. Peckham Blue, that's a luxury shade, Dell shouted. Anyway, the market's moving on. I've heard about these negative ion bracelets. They're made of magnets and hope. Rodney, Monkey Harris has got 1,000 of them. Chapter 22, The Reluctant Sunlayer. Boyke was hosting a dinner party to celebrate his new partnership with a luxury car showroom in Chelsea. He'd invited the Trotters, mostly to show off his new wine cellar. I need someone to help me organize the wine list. Derek, Boyke had sneered. Someone who knows a chateau from a Chatsworth. I don't suppose your brothers GC East cover viticulture. Viticulture? Rodney's middle name is Viticulture. Dell lied. He's a connoisseur. Boyke, he can tell you the vintage of a grape just by looking at the vine shadows. Dell's plan was simple. He'd bought a case of cheap supermarket plunk and a stack of expensive-looking labels he'd printed at a local print shop. They spent the afternoon in the van, carefully peeling off the old labels and gluing on the new ones. Grand Cru de Peckham 1982. Are you sure about this, Dell? Rodney asked, his hands covered in adhesive. Boyke might be a prat, but he knows his wine. He knows what he's told he likes. Rodney, once he sees the label and hears your fancy talk about oaky undertones and tannic structures, he'll be eating out of our hands. At the dinner party, Rodney was forced to act as the sunlayer. He wore a white towel over his arm and spoke in a Fox French accent that sounded more like a Belgian detective. Ah, Mr. Boyke, Rodney drawled, pouring a glass of the supermarket plonk. Note the legs on this one. It has a certain Genieses Koi of the South London terroir. Boyke swirled the wine, sniffed it, and took a sip. Very interesting. Rodney. A bit sharp, wouldn't you say? That's the high acidity of the 1980 to harvest, Dell interjected. Very rare. Only to bottles left in existence. The night was a success until Marley noticed that the Grand Cru label was starting to peel off, revealing a price tag of £3.99 underneath. Is this a joke, Derek? Boyke asked, his voice rising to a dangerous pitch. A joke? No, Boyke, it's a blind taste test, Dell stammered. We wanted to see if a man of your caliber could be fooled by a mere label. And you weren't. You knew it was sharp. You passed the test. Herman, you're a true expert. Boyke, flattered by the praise, actually let them stay for dessert. But he didn't buy the exclusive distribution rights Dell was hoping for. Chapter 23, The Peckham Olympics. The local council had announced a Peckham Community Games to foster spirit in the area. There were trophies, small cash prizes, and Most importantly for Dell, a chance to set up a catering stall. We'll provide the fuel for the athletes, Rodney. Dell announced. Trotter's high-protein power bars, made from the finest oats, and whatever Monkey Harris had in the back of his garage. Dell, the last time Monkey Harris had something in the back of his garage, it was a shipment of military-grade flare guns, Rodney reminded him. The power bars were actually just crushed-up biscuits held together with honey and a bit of protein powder that turned out to be chalk. They looked like small bricks and were almost as hard. Try one, Rodney. It'll give you the strength of 10 men. Rodney took a bite and nearly broke a molar. Dell, these aren't power bars. These are building materials. Undeterred, Dell set up the stall at the park. He also entered Rodney into the Peckham Marathon, which was actually just 3 laps around the estate to promote the brand. Look at him go, Dell shouted into a megaphone as a very reluctant Rodney limped past the starting line, wearing a t-shirt that said powered by Trotter bars. The man's a machine, a biscuit-fueled machine. The games were going well until the 100-meter sprint, where several athletes complained of sudden, intense jaw pain after eating the Trotter bars. Then, the high-protein chalk started to react with the Peckham spring water they were also selling, causing several contestants to start foaming at the mouth. Is that a sign of peak performance? Dell, Trigger asked, watching the chaos from the sidelines. No, Trigger, Dell's side, starting to pack up the stall. I think it's a sign of a very quick exit. Rodney, run faster. The medics are coming. Epilogue, the soul of Peckham. In the Nag's Head later that night, the Peckhamford raised their glasses. The news of the foaming marathon and the chalky power bars had already been immortalized in the local lore. He's a survivor, Ardell, Sid said, wiping a glass with the same rag he'd been using since the millennium. Even if he does turn the local athletes into human fire extinguishers. Yeah, Trigger nodded, his eyes vacant as usual. I think I'll buy one of those power bars. My garden wall needs a bit of repair. And in the corner, near the jukebox, playing a scratchy version of a wartime song. A ghost of an old man with a white beard and a sailor's cap seemed to chuckle. The Trotters were bankrupt. They were broke. And they were the laughing stock of the borough, but they were home. And in Peckham, that was worth more than £6.5 million. As the lights dimmed, Del Boy leaned over to Rodney and whispered, "Don't worry, Rotters, this time next year." "I know, Del," Rodney replied, clinking his glass. "I know." Author's note. This novelization explores the themes of family loyalty, the cyclical nature of success, and the indomitable spirit of the London working class. While the Trotters may lose their money, they never lose their raison d'etre. The Peckham Redemption, a Trotter Odyssey. Prologue, the mystery of the seasons. The yellow three-wheeled van, a Reliant Regal that had seen more repairs than the Great Wall of China, rattled through the streets of Peckham. To the casual observer, it was a motorized eyesore, a relic of a bygone era of fly pitching and suitcase trading. To Derek Del Boytrotter, it was a chariot of destiny, a symbol of the Trotters' independent traders' empire that refused to die, even after a bankruptcy that would have leveled a small nation. "I'll fetch the suitcase from the van," Del muttered to himself, his voice a gravelly symphony of optimism and Benson and Hedges. He climbed out, adjusting his camel hair coat with the practiced grace of a man who spent half his life avoiding the taxman and the other half trying to look like a millionaire. 'Cause if you are the bestest, but you don't ask questions, then brother, I'm your man. It was a mantra he lived by. The origins of his merchandise were often shrouded in a mystery deeper than the tides of the sea. He watched the changing seasons of Peckham from the damp gray of winter to the dusty gray of summer and wondered why he was the only one driving himself berserk. Why did only fools and horses work? The question hung in the air like the scent of cheap cigars and fried bread from Sid's Cafe. Chapter 1, The Inquisition. The office of Justin, a man whose suit probably cost more than the Trotters' combined liquid assets, was offensively clean. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the dust motes that dared to enter such a prestigious space. It was the kind of office where people discussed portfolios and dividends, words that Del liked to use even if he wasn't entirely sure where the commas went. Rodney Trotter sat on the edge of a designer chair, looking like a man awaiting a firing squad. He adjusted his tie for the 14th time, his long legs folded uncomfortably. "What's up with you, Rodney?" Del whispered, leaning back with a practiced air of nonchalance that fooled absolutely no one. "I'm a bit nervous, that's all," Rodney hissed back. "I mean, this bloke we're going to see, this Justin, he's not going to be asking me anything about my private life, that sort of thing, is he?" Del waved a ring-encrusted hand dismissively. "Of course he ain't. We're not that private, are we? He's not going to want to know about you and Cassandra's little problems." Rodney's head snapped toward his brother. "What problems? Me and Cassandra haven't got any problems." "That's not what you said to me the other night," Del countered, a predatory glint in his eye. "All right. So there's been one or two minor hiccups in the bedroom department," Rodney conceded, his voice dropping to a desperate whisper. "But they're personal, and I told you in confidence." Del smirked, adjusting his signet ring. "All right. Keep your hair on. I'm not going to be telling him about jiffins and things. And I won't tell him what Cassandra wears, either." Before Rodney could articulate his growing dread, the door swung open. Justin entered, looking busy and important, clutching a leather-bound folder. "Sorry to keep you waiting," Justin said, though he didn't sound sorry at all. It's been a particularly busy morning. Now, I've got all the basic details about your business career, etc. But what I'd like to do is to get an insight into the real you. How you started, how you became so successful, but more importantly, your lives and your raison d'etre. Del nodded sagely, though the French phrase passed through his mind like a ghost through a wall. Oh, no, Laboratory Garney, I understand perfectly. Justin gestured to them both. So, in your own words and in your own time. Del leaned forward, the storyteller taking the stage. Well, where shall I start? Justin. Well, up to a few years ago. We were just very ordinary people living. Well, very ordinary lives. Weren't we, Rodney? Rodney nodded slowly, his mind drifting back to the days of one-bedroom flats and suitcase trading. And then Del continued, his voice dropping to a theatrical whisper. One day I discovered an historic and almost priceless artifact, an Harrison watch. At first, we didn't know what to do with it. To begin with, we thought about donating it to the British Museum as a national treasure. Rodney cleared his throat. Yeah, and then we decided to flog it. Exactly, Del beamed. So, before you know it, Rodders and me have come into an eye on £6.5 million. Chapter 2. The Central American Mirage. We had to start thinking about our future, Del explained to Justin, who was scribbling notes furiously. So, we sought out this city stockbroker, and he advised us to invest in a new and vibrant venture. It was a Central American market. It was attracting massive funds from all over the world. We were making more money than a royal mint. In Del's mind, the memories played out like a glossy travel brochure. He saw himself and Raquel, Rodney and Cassandra, and young Damien living the high life. He remembered the luxury hotels, the palm trees, and the constant thrum of Ricky Martin's Livin' La Vida Loca playing in the background. It was a time of gold-plated everything and champagne for breakfast. But even then, there were signs of the coming storm. He remembered Damien the Little Git weeing into a hotel swimming pool from the top of a 4-meter diving board. He remembered the hollow luxury of a life without a hustle. Uncle Albert, bless him, had been living in sin with Elsie Partridge down on the coast, presumably telling her wartime stories until her ears bled. And then Del's face darkened, just as everything seemed to be going so well. Something terrible happened. Negotiations between the Central American countries collapsed. Rodney interjected, the voice of cold reality. The market was wiped out. Nicked the lot. We'd even paid for the hotel on a credit card, which had now been withdrawn. The fall had been faster than the rise. The news hit the UK via the internet before they could even pack their bags. Suddenly, their business associates weren't returning calls. They were cast into a financial wilderness. Fortunately, Del said, trying to regain his dignity. We come from a strong community. Our friends in Peckham were as gutted as us. Take Mike Fisher, the landlord of the Nag's Head. He invested his life savings, remortgaged the pub. And will Mr. Fisher be giving evidence? Justin asked. No, Dell sighed. He's in prison, awaiting trial. The fraud squad claims he tried to recoup his losses by embezzling the brewery. Never was a man more innocent. He confessed to everything. Dell, Rodney added helpfully. Chapter 3, The Halls of Justice. The courtroom was a cold, cavernous space that smelled of old paper and failed ambitions. Outside, the Peckham crew, Trigger, Denzel, and Sid paced the corridors like a collection of nervous suspects. For God's sake, Denzel, sit down, Albert snapped. You're wearing the marble out. I can't, Albert, can I? Denzel replied, his face a mask of anxiety. I've never been a character witness before. And you think we have? Sid grunted. I'm worried, Denzel continued. I think those made a terrible mistake, having us for as character witnesses. It's like inviting the Manson family to dinner. Trigger, staring blankly at a fire extinguisher, nodded. I'm going to tell them I hear voices. No, Trig, you're not on trial, Sid groaned. You're a character witness. I know, Trigger said simply, but I hear voices. Inside the courtroom, the legal machinery ground onward. The Trotters had lost everything. Their company-owned properties were gone. Those estate with the peacocks was a memory. Rodney's riverside flat was a dream. Due to my foresight, Dell told the judge some years previously I had bought another property, so at least we had somewhere to live. It's called our old flat, Rodney muttered. Nelson Mandela House. The return to the high-rise was a bitter pill. Every day brought more rows, more bad news. They thought things couldn't get worse. Chapter 4. A Farewell to the Old Sea Dog. The funeral was supposed to be a solemn occasion. A final anchors away for Uncle Albert, the man who had survived the Battle of the Baltic and countless other wartime sagas that had bored his nephews to tears. Best leave it till the hearse arrives, Dell whispered to Rodney as they stood outside the chapel. They met a woman named Marion who had cleaned for Albert. Lovely old man, she said, went on a bit. I feel bad, Dell admitted, looking at the casket, leaving him here on his own while we were off globe-trotting. He didn't even have a passport. Good job Hitler didn't find that out. They entered the chapel, joined by a man named Roland, who claimed to be related to Albert's niece. I suppose we'll all miss him in our way, Roland said, though his tone was less than reverent. I'll tell you one thing we won't miss, though. All those bloody wartime sagas. Those eyes narrowed. Actually, Roland, we used to love hearing about his past. God, he did go on, though, Roland persisted. Never bloody stopped. Dell stepped closer to the man. You've got to remember that a lot of blokes lost their lives for our liberty, just so that 50 years later, prats like you would have the freedom to knock them. All right? Take it easy, Del, Rodney cautioned. No, I'm serious, Del said, his voice rising. I think you and I ought to go outside and have a more detailed chat. The tension was broken by the arrival of the hearse, but as the pallbearers moved past, Damien pointed a finger. Is that a Spitfire, Dad? Del looked at the floral arrangements. Oh, we're at the wrong funeral. Chapter 5, The Bankruptcy and the Broom. Back in the flat, the reality of the court's decision finally settled. The court declared me bankrupt, Del announced to Raquel and Cassandra. Does that mean you're going to prison? Damien asked, almost hopefully. No, Del snapped. The Inland Revenue give you a year to pay off your debt. Then they come in and take all your goods, anything of value. So it won't affect us. Then Rodney quipped. We have got something of value, Raquel said softly. This flat, our home. Del looked around the cramped living room. I suppose I could always look for a job. Trigger said they're recruiting down at his depot. Road sweeping. The thought of Del Boy the man who once sold 1,000 genuine Russian watches sweeping the gutters of Peckham was too much for Raquel to bear. I was talking about Rodney, she said. Me? Rodney stammered. Can you honestly see me pushing a broom around? It's all right, Del said, a new plan already forming in his hyperactive mind. They give training. Del knew he couldn't run a company while bankrupt. But Rodney was clean. Trotter's Independent Traders is no more, Del said, performing a mournful sigh. It's Capet, dead as the emu. Unless what? Rodney asked. Unless there was someone out there, someone young and enthusiastic, someone full of ideas, someone like, well, you, Rodney. Me? Rodney blinked. Legally, there is nothing to stop me taking over Trotter's Independent Traders. Exactly. Del beamed. Rodney Trotter, managing director. It's got a ring to it, don't it? Chapter 6, The Sultan of Brunei. The transition to Rodney's leadership was subtle. In reality, Del remained the architect of every scheme, while Rodney provided the clean signature for the bank. One evening, the phone rang a call that promised a return to the glory days. Trotter's Independent Traders, Managing Director Rodney Trotter speaking. Rodney said, trying to sound executive. Good evening. I am wishing to speak with Managing Director. A voice with a thick, unfamiliar accent replied, I am representative of the Sultan of Brunei. Rodney's eyes widened. He covered the receiver. Del, you'll never guess who's on the phone. It's the Sultan of Brunei. Del and Trigger leaned in, listening intently. His Highness, he would like you to fly to Brunei and be his consultant, the voice continued. Recently, His Highness bought a crappy old three-wheeled van, and he wants to know where to start it on cold mornings. Rodney's face fell. He recognized the laughter in the background. Yeah, I had you going there, didn't I? The voice changed to the familiar, mocking tones of Mickey Pierce. Oh, shove it, Mickey, just shove it. Rodney slammed the phone down. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Dave's just had a big row with the Sultan of Brunei. Trigger noted, completely missing the joke. Chapter 7, Memory Baggage. The strain of their financial downfall was taking a toll on Rodney and cost Sandra's marriage. Desperate to rekindle the fire, Rodney turned to a man's magazine, the serious kind, not the ones Dell hid under the sofa. Cass, we need to try something, Rodney said over dinner at a quiet restaurant. I've been reading about this psychological healing process. It's called fantasy therapy. Cassandra looked skeptical. Does this involve dressing up? Absolutely not. Rodney lied quickly. It's about iconoclastic autosuggestion, the subconscious rejecting reality. We become different, people to unload our memory baggage. It's about remembering to forget. All right, Cassandra sighed. I'm willing to give it a try. Good, Rodney smiled. Now, each person writes down their fantasy figure, and the other person becomes that figure for a little while. He handed her a slip of paper. She looked at it and then back at him. So am I supposed to be her? And you, Rodney said, looking at the name she wrote, you fancy him? The plan was set, but as often happened with the Trotters, the line between fantasy and a police report was dangerously thin. Chapter 8, The Gladiator and the Law. A few nights later, the Trotter flat was the site of a bizarre transformation. Dell and Raquel were preparing to go out, while Rodney and Cassandra were deep in their therapeutic exercise. The door flew open, and Cassandra walked in, looking stunning in a full policewoman's uniform, handcuffs, truncheon, and a look of stern authority. Oh, my God! Dell jumped. I thought you was a real policewoman. You nearly gave me a coronary. Rodney emerged from the bedroom, looking considerably less authoritative. He was wearing a leather tunic, a cape, and a helmet that was slightly too large. And you, Rogers, Dell smirked. Who are you supposed to be? Russell Crowe. Pardon? Rodney grumbled. Russell Crowe, you look more like Spartacus with piles. It's a fancy dress party, Dell, Rodney said, sticking to the cover story. My ex-boss at the bank invited us. It's an early party because people have work in the morning. Right, Dell said, ushering them toward the door. Go on, off you go. Make a big impression. Here, you can borrow the Capri. As Rodney and Cassandra shuffled out a gladiator and a policewoman heading into the night of Peckham, Dell turned to Raquel. You see, darling, power is an aphrodisiac. She's bubbling. Chapter 9, Gold Rush. The neon lights of the television studio were blinding. Dell stood on the stage of Gold Rush, facing Jonathan Ross and the judgmental gaze of the British public. He had lied about his pastimes, claiming an interest in 16th century Italian Renaissance art and managed to fumble his way through the preliminary rounds. Rodney, Dell whispered into the phone, using his SOS option. I need your help. 50,000 pounds on the line. Who's this? Mickey Pierce. Rodney's voice crackled through the speaker. It's Jonathan Ross. Rodney. The host shouted. We need an answer. Which classical guitarist wrote the opera The Child and The Enchantment? Was it Ravel, Segovia, or Rodrigo? Rodney, sitting in the flat in his pajamas, felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. Ravel, 100%, Dell. Dell turned back to Jonathan Ross, a confident smirk on his face. I'll go with that. It's Ravel. The silence in the studio was deafening. Derek, Jonathan said softly. That was the wrong answer. It was Segovia. The world seemed to collapse. Dell was frozen out. He returned home to a flat filled with disappointment. I was certain, Rodney moaned. I could have sworn it was Ravel. Ravel makes shoes. You dipstick. Dell exploded, though he himself hadn't known the answer 10 minutes prior. Chapter 10, The Last Laugh. The phone rang. Raquel answered it. Dell, it's the producer of Gold Rush. Dell took the phone, his heart hammering. Hello. Yes. What? His face went through a kaleidoscope of emotions. He said there's been a mistake. It was Ravel. I've won the 50 grand. The room erupted. Cheers, hugs, and the clinking of glasses. For a fleeting second, the glory was back. The Trotters were once again the masters of their domain. But then, a familiar sound drifted through the receiver. The distinct clink of a jukebox from the Nag's Head. Bloody Mickey Pierce, Dell screamed, slamming the phone down. I'm going to move. I'm going to kick his arse into shredded duck. As the laughter of his family filled the room, Dell looked at the empty glass in his hand. He looked at Rodney, who was still trying to explain why he thought a shoe manufacturer wrote operas. He looked at Raquel, who was laughing in spite of their poverty. He realized that while the money was gone, the hustle remained. The spirit of the Trotters was not in the millions, but in the relentless, ridiculous hope that the next phone call, the next suitcase, or the next game show would be the one. He adjusted his gold chain, took a deep breath, and looked at his brother. Don't worry, Rotters, Dell said, the old fire returning to his eyes. This time next year, we'll be millionaires. Chapter 11, The Morning After the Storm. The morning sun filtered through the cracked blinds of Nelson Mandela House, illuminating the dust that had settled on the velvet curtains. Del Boy sat at the kitchen table, staring at a bowl of soggy cornflakes as if they held the secrets of the universe. The millionaire high of the previous night had evaporated. replaced by the dull ache of the Inland Revenue's impending visit. Rodney, have you seen the post? Dell shouted toward the hallway. Rodney stumbled in, rubbing his eyes, wearing a dressing gown that looked like it had been salvaged from a skip in the late 80s. It's all final demands. Dell, and one from the bank asking if I'd like to consolidate my debts. I didn't know you could consolidate nothing into even more nothing. Don't be like that, Rodders, Dell said, brightening. We're under new management now. Your management. I've been thinking. We need a hook. Something to get the cash flowing while we wait for the taxman to forget where we live. Dell, we owe 50,000 pounds, Rodney sighed, sitting down. The taxman isn't going to forget. He's probably got a sat-nav pointed directly at this flat. Listen to me. Dell leaned in, his voice dropping to that conspiratorial tone that usually preceded a disaster. I was talking to a bloke down the market yesterday. He's got a pallet of smart toothbrushes. They connect to your phone and tell you if you're brushing too hard. Smart toothbrushes. Rodney looked skeptical. Dell, people in Peckham are lucky if they've got their own teeth, let alone a brush that talks to their mobile. No, you're missing the point. These are the Luxor 5000 models. They've got a slight defect. The Bluetooth signal is so strong it occasionally opens garage doors. Imagine the market. We sell them as high-tech security devices that also keep your breath mini fresh. It's a niche market. Rodney groaned, burying his face in his hands. Under new management. I should have known new management just meant same old rubbish, different signature. Chapter 12, The Nag's Head Philosophy. Later evening, the air in the Nag's Head was thick with the smell of stale beer and the low hum of Trigger's internal monologues. Sid was behind the bar, wiping a glass with a cloth that looked like it had been used to clean an oil spill. All right, Dave, Trigger said, nodding at Rodney as the brothers walked in. It's Rodney. Trig, you've known me my whole life, Rodney corrected for the 10,000th time. I know. Dave, just keeping you on your toes, Trigger replied with a blank stare. Dell leaned against the bar, ordering 2 halves of lager and a large cognac for the nerves. So, Trig, how's the depot? Still recruiting. Yeah. Dell, they need a new man for the night shift. It's peaceful. Just you, the broom, and the voices, Trigger said solemnly. Voices? Rodney asked, leaning in. What voices? Trig. The ones that tell me where the leaves are hiding, Trigger said. They're very helpful. Sometimes they even sing. Dell cleared his throat, moving the conversation along. Right. Well, I was telling Rodney here. We're looking to expand our horizons. Diversify. We're in the tech sector now. Tech? Sid chimed in. I thought you were in the bankrupt sector. Dell. Temporary setback, Sid. A mere glitch in the matrix, Dell declared, raising his glass. To Trotter's independent traders. Now with added Rodney. Denzel walked in, looking more her ass than usual. Del, have you seen the papers? There's a story about a three-wheeled van seen speeding away from a fancy dress party. They say the driver looked like a gladiator and the passenger was a policewoman. Rodney froze, his glass halfway to his mouth. Cassandra, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, suddenly found her drink very interesting. Publicity, Rodney, that's what that is, Del whispered. They're calling you a hero, a gladiator of the people. They're calling me a public nuisance. Del, Rodney hissed back. Chapter 13, The High Priest of High-Value Assets. The afternoon silence of the Trotter flat was broken by a sharp, rhythmic tapping on the door. It wasn't the heavy-handed thud of the debt collector, nor the tentative scratch of trigger. It was the assertive, slightly condescending knock of a man who owned a Mercedes and a villa in Spain. Boyke stood in the doorway, exhaling a plume of cigar smoke that smelled of arrogance and aged tobacco. Marlene stood behind him, adjusting her leopard print coat and looking at the wallpaper with a pitying expression. All right, Del, Boyke said, his voice a nasal drone that set Rodney's teeth on edge. I heard the news. Bankrupt. A tragic end to A. Well, I'd say stellar career, but that would be lying, wouldn't it? He let out his trademark laugh dry, hacking sound that resembled a cold engine trying to start. Comin', Boyke, Marlene, take a seat, Del said, trying to maintain his dignity while hiding a stack of final demands under a cushion. It's just a temporary cash flow situation. We're restructuring. Restructuring. Boyke sneered, sitting on the edge of the sofa as if afraid he'd catch poverty. Is that what they're calling losing $6.5 million these days? I've seen more financial stability in a game of Monopoly. We're diversifying, Boyke, Rodney interjected, puffing out his chest. As the new managing director, I've taken the firm into the technology sector. Marlene looked at Rodney, her eyes widening. Technology. Does that mean you've finally learned how to use the microwave, Rodney? Boyke chuckled, tapping ash onto the carpet. Listen, Del, I'm a man of business. I don't like to see an old associate in the gutter. I might have an opening for a driver. Nothing fancy. Just moving some high-value stock between warehouses. Quietly. Those eyes flickered. High value. What kind of stock? Let's just say they're unrecorded luxury items, Boyke said with a wink. Interested. Del looked at Rodney, then back at Boyke. The old hustle was calling. But before he could answer, a loud, electronic beep echoed from the kitchen. Chapter 14, The Garage Door Symphony. What was that? Boyke asked, his eyebrows shooting up. Oh, that's just the future, Del said, sweating. Suddenly, the street outside was filled with the sound of grinding metal. Looking out the window, Del saw the neighbor's garage door slowly rising, then the one next to it, then the one across the street, It was a wave of synchronized automation. Inside the kitchen, Rodney found the source. A pallet of Luxor 5000 smart toothbrushes had arrived, and one of them had activated in the box. Its Bluetooth signal was indeed very wrecked strong. Del, Rodney yelled, the toothbrushes, they're opening everything. Boyke stood up, looking out the window. Is that old Mrs. Gribble's garage? Why is her lawnmower coming out to greet the world? Publicity, Boyke. Del shouted over the noise. It's a demonstration. The Luxor 5000. It's so powerful, it doesn't just clean your teeth. It cleans up the whole neighborhood. Marlene began to laugh a high-pitched, infectious sound. Boyke, however, looked horrified as his own Mercedes, parked outside, began to unlock and lock its doors in rapid succession. Click-clack, click-clack. My car, Del, what have you done to my car? Boyke screamed, rushing for the door. It's the security feature, Del yelled after him. It's checking for intruders. It's state-of-the-art. As Boyke and Marlene fled the flat, Rodney stood amidst the boxes of vibrating toothbrushes. Managing director, he muttered, I'm the managing director of a haunted electronics warehouse. Chapter 15, A Toast to Tomorrow. As the sun set over Peckham, casting long, orange shadows across Nelson Mandela House, the chaos subsided. The toothbrushes had been deactivated mostly, and the garage doors had been manually shut by a collection of very confused neighbors. Del and Rodney sat on the balcony, looking out over the flickering lights of the city. In the distance, the silhouette of the Nag's Head was a beacon of normality. You know, Rodders, Del said, taking a sip of a questionable brand of sparkling wine. Boyke might have been right about one thing. We've had a bit of a tumble. A tumble? Rodney asked. We fell off a skyscraper and landed in a bucket of manure. Yeah, but look at the manure, Del said, ever the optimist. It's good for the roses. We're back where we started. Yeah, just you and me, and Raquel and Cassandra, and the little git. He put an arm around his brother's shoulder. We've got our health, we've got our wits, and we've got a pallet of toothbrushes that can control the local infrastructure. That's more than most people have. I suppose so, Rodney admitted. We're trotters, Rodney. We don't stay down. We're like those inflatable dolls with the weights in the bottom. You hit us. We bounce back, usually with a slightly better story. He raised his glass to the future, to the millions, and to the fact that you still haven't pushed that broom. Rodney smiled, clinking his glass against us, to the future. As they sat there in the cool night air, the spirit of the trotters felt unshakable. They were bankrupt in the eyes of the law, but in the heart of Peckham, they were legends. And somewhere, perhaps, Uncle Albert was looking down, nursing a rum and getting ready to tell a story about a battle he almost certainly wasn't in. Rodders. Yeah, Thou, this time next year. I know, Del, Rodney said, his voice filled with a familiar, ridiculous hope. Millionaires. Chapter 16, The Inspector's Visitation. The bubble of optimism was pricked 2 days later by a sharp, authoritative knock. Not the rhythmic tap of Boyke, nor the frantic bang of an angry neighbor. This was a bureaucratic knock, dry, persistent, and smelling of tax